Welcome back in, everybody. Pro Football Enterprises, Shane, Austin, Ben, all here with you. We're moving through a lot of the tight ends here. We're not going to hit everybody all at once. Some of them we won't cover till Christmas or 2026 early on. But we're trying to grab as many of these tight ends as we can right now. And Jack Velling is here from Michigan State. I'll give Shane the first word in just a second. He is 6'5". He is 245, and he had 36 catches last year for 411 yards, and the YPR was 11.4, and one touchdown last year. Shane, give us the kind of set the table for us here on Jack Belling.
Well, something that we've hit on a lot in our breakdowns on the early tight ends is this new emergence of the slightly smaller, slightly less heavy tight end. Jack Velling has the ability to become one of these monster tight ends again. As you mentioned, Ben, 6'5", 245 right now. Plays physical at the point of attack. Michigan State runs an offense where he needs to be. Last year, again, lower reception numbers. The tight ends aren't used on a lot of these offenses as highly as they are, but he's over a first down per catch. Low touchdown numbers, has been playing well for them in the beginning of the year. I think he has solid hands, not over the top. Does a really good job in the tape that I've seen of getting open though. Good read at getting himself into zones, working against some different coverages that he's seen in the Big Ten. Um, I don't think yet he's super strong at the point of attack for your blocking standpoint. Could grow and develop there, like I said, with a little bit additional weight as he gets older. Uh, but for what he's done so far, I think he's a guy that's going to project really well towards the end of the year. As the numbers start to stack up and some of these other tight ends kind of filter through, I think he'll be a guy that an awful lot of offenses will be looking for.
All right, Shane, we'll come back to you in just a second, let you round it up here. I'm going to run through my notes and we'll hand it to Austin. My first note is he looks big. All right, we've already talked about it, but you even see him on screen. He just looks big. You can kind of see him towering over other players when he's out there on the field, and a lot of that seems to be in the shoulders too. It feels like so. He looks big, looks the part. I always like that when you see the measurements. He works well through traffic over the middle. I noticed he seems very comfortable, just kind of weaving when he's doing the crossing routes, right? Weaving his way through a lot of traffic. I really like that. Excuse me. Good speed for his size. Listen, he's not fast. Okay, he's not fast. We talked about a lot of tight ends who are fast. This is not one of them, but for his size, I still felt like he had representative speed. He can get where he needs to go in good amounts of time. So I didn't think the speed was a problem. I just I like the speed. He's just not the burner that we've talked about with some of these other guys here in the tight end spot. He loves to lower his shoulder and get an extra yard or two. I noticed that repeatedly. He does not mind just ramming you. And, he always falls forward. It's the old Emmitt Smith thing, right? Well, let's just make sure we fall forward and collect that extra yard or two as we do so. So he has no problem ramming people. A lot of seam routes, a lot of ins and out routes. So more of the traditional tight end stuff, seams, ins, and outs, right? Not a lot of the crazy stuff, the slot stuff, the deep stuff. It seems ins and outs, right? So if you're looking for that more traditional tight end, he is the guy for it. Great for picking up first downs. I really think that he is effective at that. He just kind of seems to know. You mentioned about finding the holes in the zone, Shane. He seems to know where the first down marker is too. So I really like that ability right there. He's kind of a chain mover, that's very valuable. Excellent underneath option for QBs. I didn't see a lot of downfield stuff, and I don't expect it. And he doesn't have all that slot stuff that some of these other guys have. But this is a guy who knows how to get open. He's going to be open a lot. He's just not going to collect massive yardage when doing so. But if your quarterback needs an outplay, this is the guy right here. This will be a quarterback's best friend. The blocking is effective, but not dominant. Shane, you mentioned that. For his size, I was kind of hoping for dominant. I didn't get it, but it's effective. He repeatedly, they have him out there a lot for blocking, but it is not dominant. And then I thought the hands were good, not great, is what I thought. So I'm satisfied with the hands. There are times it looks a little clubbish sometimes, but again, I consistently saw him catching passes and being effective at that. So I'm happy with the hands. I just didn't think they were great. So that is my thoughts on Jack Velling at the moment. I've got him probably third round, third to fourth round, and it's probably the speed athleticism ratio that's pulling him down for me. I would value him on my team. It's just not going to be up in that top 50 at the moment for me, is kind of where I'm at on Jack Belling. Austin.
I see the vision with Jack Velling. I'm just begging him, please, please hit the gym, dude. You're gonna be a monster, an absolute monster in the league. You just need to get bigger and stronger. I really like his technical ability. I think he has fantastic feet. He runs with rhythm and tempo and is one of the rare tight ends who's able to like change that rhythm and tempo while keeping moving. You see a lot of guys, tight ends have to like kind of stand still and chop their feet. He's one of the guys who I think is able to still gain ground while changing up the rhythm and tempo of their feet, making really sudden breaks, even though he's not necessarily what I would consider a sudden athlete. Like, I don't think he gets
Right,
off the ball well, but
right.
once he's off the ball, he's able to use that rhythm and tempo and really good footwork to make sudden breaks. And I think, as you talked about it with his blocking, I think he has good footwork in that too. I just see him getting beat at the point of contact a lot,
Mhm.
and I just think he needs to get stronger, and maybe work on. I don't know that much about blocking. Hand placement's obviously a big deal in blocking, and I think that's something that definitely needs to improve. But he is not one of those guys who has to be relegated to a receiving tight end only. I think he can absolutely learn how and develop the skills to become a really good blocking tight end as well. As for the receiving ability that I talked about, in his routes, he's very refined. It seems like he knows the landmarks that he needs to get to really well.
Yeah.
And I think he's a very natural hands catcher. You don't see him using his body to catch the ball. And I don't necessarily think he is like a highlight tape kind of guy with his hands, but I think he has really solid hands that are going to make the catches he's supposed to make. Unfortunately, I didn't see a whole lot of tape of him working downfield, so I don't know how he's going to work in that way. But as your traditional, and when I say traditional, I'm thinking, back to what I was used to seeing when I first started watching NFL in the, late 2000s, early 2010s. He's that kind of tight end in the traditional sense, I think, where he's really good over the middle, getting to his open spots and securing a catch for, 14 yards and getting you a first down on third
Yeah.
and long.
All right. Shane, give us the last word on Jack Belling.
Well, I agree with what you guys just said, and like Austin said, if you have somebody that pops into your brain when you're watching somebody else play, it's always good to mention it. As Austin said, with the foot placement, the way he gets in and out of things, Dallas Clark was the one that really popped out to
Mhm.
me. Not super fast, pretty good athlete though, but did a great job of getting himself open and getting to the point of attack. Um, I think though, as Austin mentioned, that he could also be like a Witten. I mean, he's got the size. If he puts the bulk on with the good hands that he already has, um, this is another guy that in the NFL, his talent might actually even show you higher. He's not working with a ton of other offensive talent at Michigan State. Um, the one point I definitely agree with on Austin, I think he's a willing and his footwork as a blocker is good. But when you see him go against a heavy defensive end, they're off the ball just a hair quicker than him, and there's definitely a more fluid punch in them than there is in his.
Mhm.
When he's on zone blocking and he has to get around a guy, he does a good job to get in front, but he's not a power blocker yet. Um, Austin mentioned, I mean, if you could get this guy a little bit in the room and a little bit heavier in the weight room, an ability to be a freak in the NFL definitely populates.
All right, everybody. Excellent work. Excellent stuff on Jack Velling out of Michigan State. Stay tuned for him in the upcoming draft. This is Pro Football Enterprises. Thank you for joining.